All right, here we go. So the problem is I have two levels. Peace and rage. And there's no in between. When and this is what I mean, the work, right? I'm trying to figure it out. Oh, well, obviously it's obvious when you get triggered or something. It's like, okay, yeah. Rage comes out. I mean, I guess for most, some people maybe have more control over suppressing it even when they're triggered. I don't know. I mean, yeah, evidently. I don't. Yeah, I have peace and rage, and there's no in between. Okay, so working through it, it's like, okay, I got triggered, and they get so. And since those are my only two options, it goes instantly to rage. Zero in between. Things. That's how fast the nervous system starts working. Things like immediately start piling on top of each other, and colliding, and then that's the explosion, right? It's just many things. Boom. It happens so fast though. Instant rage. It hits. I don't know what happens first, chicken or egg. Instant rage, and then it hits up against many other things, causing even more rage, or that's where the rage stems from, is it's hitting up against a bunch of different things all at once. Ping-ponging. Anyway, so working through the trigger, it's like, okay, it's always there's a surface level you figure out, then you think about it, you go deeper, and you're like, okay, so that's that, and then even deeper, and you see the other things it was hitting up against, not just the main thing. And so mine is, it's like, I get fucking so angry about, and only in the relationship sector. Significant other relationship sector, where not being heard. He's got a thing, I have a thing, it's a mutual thing, or not mutual, whatever, two-way street thing. He can't hear, I struggle to talk, I'm trying, or I guess enunciate, I'm trying to be better at that. It's also not native to the language. All causing listening, hearing, retention, whatever, all understanding issues, alright? And then this hits a big, this is like a big one of my things, and it only gets triggered up with him, of being heard. Not necessarily, but I guess that's the most often, easiest, quickest, no short fuse, no instant mad, no grace period. With not being heard with him. And because it's like I guess it's because of a deeper not being heard, not like the actual physical non-hearing that's pissing me off, even though it is slightly annoying, but obviously that's not the deeper thing. And then that comes back to like personal safety, and obviously not in like a life or death situation, in like an emotional situation, realm. Do I feel safe to be my full authentic self? That's what, we're all been fucking struggling with. But anyway, me especially. And it's like the second anything bounces off against that trigger, a look out. Alright? Instant rage. And I'm like, what I'm trying to say is I'm like that with everything. But like, that's not true. Anyway, what I'm saying is it's a common thing for me to just start yelling about something. I like to rant. A good rant. Rant's like my favorite fucking thing on earth. For me to listen to, it's great. Even if it's like not even a particular rant you agree with, I love a rant. Anyway, that was a rant about loving rants. Okay, so example of small thing where I get, boom, heated, quickly start yelling, but like, it's not like an angry yell, it's just like a raised voice yell. Other times it's rage. This particular instance is just, I guess, frustration yell, and not even just raised voice, whatever. Getting the dog too excited, alright? That's the thing, and that's why it's also his responsibility. We share this dog anyways. I instantly go to, you're ruining my dog. You know? And heated. Or, like, loud. Not necessarily heated. There's no, like, anger or whatever. It's just heated. Loud, not heated. Fuck. Anyway. That's what I instantly go to. So, like, and then, of course, afterwards you feel bad. And then I'm like, okay, so I need to tone down that fire. Because that fire happened so far. And, like, obviously, so now it's a new thing I'm aware of. Well, I've always known it's there. Anyway, it doesn't matter. I'm trying to work on it. Should just say working on it. Anyway. So after I'm like, okay, I can tone it down by just saying, instead of yelling, I can just say logically and without emotion, you're ruining my dog. Please stop ruining my dog. Can try to be nicer about it and then still sneak that in there and be like, okay, please take it easy with the excitement around the dog. I don't want you to ruin him. Yeah. Anyways, toning down the heat in those sort of situations, and that's where I'm trying to depict how quickly I jump into heat. But not from an angry place. And then, but triggered, when I get triggered, it's like same amount of quickness straight into same amount of quickness, but then it is rage and there's anger. Because evidently that's because it's hitting up against core wounds. So I guess the work is in the moment trying to not go to rage. Remember that the person is not coming from trying to enrage you or harm you in any way or offend you in any way. And they certainly are not purposely doing the deeper deed that you're really reacting about, which is I mean, in this instance, an example of a core wound. Not feeling safe to be your authentic self. So somebody rejects something that you were sharing and boom, you instantly get triggered, and to what it really is saying, your anger really is saying, I don't feel safe to be myself here. I want to reject that, any essence of that. Because that's my past, it's not safe. I'm trying to create a life where I am safe. To be authentic, I know that life, it's huge. So, trying to remember that in the moment. This is after working on it, obviously. Not your first crack. Remembering those things, it's not intentional. They're definitely not trying to challenge your authentic expression intentionally. And try to maintain your I don't give a fuck anyways. Why would I give a fuck if somebody believes what I believe or not? I like where I'm at. They obviously like where they're at. It's all right. I think I do have like even though intellectually and everything else, I know that there's no hierarchy to any experience or aka data collection for consciousness. But sitting here as a human in an ego, I can say that I certainly think that side is stupid, and I wouldn't be doing it, evidently. So those are my feelings on it, I guess. So trying to hold that, hold the I don't care in the end of the day. And then, I guess that's how you work through a trigger without snapping. After, like I said, after being aware and reflecting and actually working on it, sort of thing. Okay, and then it also bumps things up, like that also bump up against an isolation factor of feeling alone, loneliness of I don't know, being the only one on a certain level. I don't know. Yes, because not feeling safe to be your authentic self is connected to feeling alone. I also don't feel I am alone in people to share my authentic expression with. There is no one in my direct physical reality, and there have been few within all of in this lifetime that I have physically met, that are on my same vibration, same wavelength, and I can go deep with in conversations of consciousness, etc. And everybody has their version of this. Because if you haven't been able to share your authentic self for most of your life, you haven't had a lot of time to have people run into that version of you. Everyone else has ran into a different version of you, a masked version of you. Unless they were around long enough or showed certain cues long enough to let you think that you could open up a bit. Because if you are surrounded by people that are playing one game but telling you that you need to play this game this way, telling you the rules of how you should play and what options you have, and the acceptable one only, supporting or even teaching of the acceptable ones. If you're coming from that, it's no wonder you didn't have a chance to explore your truth. What you thought might be or think might be a fun way to exist. Because the world was telling you otherwise. There was only certain options. So you, for all of your life, had this isolation, felt alone, thinking that you're the only one that thinks that there is more to this world. That you can do and be more than what they're telling you. So when you're lacking someone to connect with that thinks like you, then yeah, of course you feel alone. So then you spend your life seeking something of resonance. So the thing is, you can still share yourself with your authentic self with the whole world and your loved ones. But you can find different places to be supported in different areas of that multifaceted, multidimensional existence of yours. So you need to basically find friends for every realm, for every dimension. I got a 3D friend that can sometimes explore 4 and 5 other dimensions, higher dimensions. But he's pretty 3D. He's like 3.5D. He's exploring. I mean, this is what brings us together. Anyways, but I keep trying to pull him further and further because I'm searching for someone to connect with on these higher levels. But it's like, all right, evidently he's not going to go there. That's my word of the week, just so you know. Month maybe? 2 months? Yeah, so that's, I don't know, just something that I have to find. Yes, because that's my responsibility. Big triggers offer an opportunity for big healing. You just have to look into it. That's why they say feel it to heal it. No, yes. Because it feels so real. It feels like, okay, oh no, I have to reassess my life in this moment because I'm not sure if this compatibility will work in the long run of this relationship. Like, yeah, talk about going to the limit. Anyway, worst case scenarioing all the time. Human being, human fearing, fear everything, fear. Anyway, so why don't we just stop that? I mean, that's the thing. That's the interesting thing. That's in my human design chart, which I don't know anything about, and I'm not. Anyway, through ChatGPT, I learned something about it, and that is where my rage, peace thing comes in, because that's like my non-self is rage, and it's like that's the point, and that's why they call the other thing strategy, whatever. Anyway. To let you know that anger, for me, my specific, and others that share that part of human design, it's like letting you know that when you're angry, and if it's a certain type of anger, like righteous, sacred anger, it's a guide. So for me, I have a rage against the oppressive paradigms. And that's because, and that connects to the non-self, right? I get angry when something it is stopping me from being my true self. Like, and that's like a thing. In the chart. Yeah, so anyways, it's an alarm to let you know when something is bumping up against your autonomy, really. For me, for people with that in their chart like that. The anger, non-self in the human design chart. But also everyone, like, anger is always a guide. But just validates why I have 2 levels, which is rage and peace. I mean, that's all those things are anyways, which is like a framework to validate parts of your existence. Human existence, hence human design. Okay, well, I'm here and on the topic. Why are we teaching our kids to do this still? Why are we doing public school still? I know, like, I get it. You gotta have a place to put the things you don't want. But it's a child prison, okay? It's teaching them to just be worker bees and know how to sit still for 8 hours. Alright? Why are we doing this still? Like I said, it's like, okay. You gotta put it somewhere when you're at work, alright? Okay. We could still do that. But why don't we just, whoever wants to take care of children, why don't we tell them right from the start, this is a playground. You can do whatever you want. Choose what you want to focus your energy towards. And then you have teachers to, give options and stuff. And then obviously when I do have an interest, then they go towards it. Why are we going to continue to set our children up for failure with this public education system? And this paradigm and the things what we are perpetuating. Why can't we set them up for success and not failure, and tell them the truth right from the start, and trust them, trust that their light is still pure, trust them that they can trust their own inner wisdom, everything's gonna be all right. Raise them to be emotionally secure instead of anxious, anxiety, and perpetuating the cycle of anxiousness, anger, and insecurity. Yes, let's stop perpetuating the cycle of anxiety-riddled children because of fear-based parenting. Yes, let's raise the next generation to be emotionally secure, self-assured, conscious creators. Let's set the children up for success, the next generation up for success. Get rid of all the bullshit that we are trying to cut out. Let's do it already so we don't continue selling it to another generation. We know it's a matrix. We know that's like a version of the matrix. And in reality, it's just like somebody's game that they invented to pass the time here. And we can invent a different game. Or we could choose not to play that game. That's what reality is. Reality can't. That's the thing, is if you're stuck in something super rigid, then that's how you know something's wrong, because reality cannot be, and never will be only one thing for everyone. That has not been and will never be the case. It's just so abundantly clear that reality is what it is for each individual. And yes, there is a collective consciousness, of course, as well. It's because the true law of the universe is that every single one of us, every single living thing, is unconditionally loved and supported in their beliefs no matter what. Period, full stop. So that's why reality is individual and collective. Because a heavy Christian will experience life through a heavy Christian lens and be validated of that. And somebody complete opposite will experience the complete opposite. So you're being supported in that reality by the same force. Of being unconditionally, lovingly supported in all realities by the same force, which is creation, and that's because that's all we're here to do, is create, and it doesn't matter, and it's completely neutral with it. Because the greater reality is, it's all data collection for consciousness. You came here to experience things. This is a place of experiential learning. For droplets of the creational force. So in the end, I realized, after this existential crisis I've had, I realized I just need to find a friend that I can talk to about deep consciousness stuff. Just in order to have a free-flowing depth conversation with another human. Like a super woo-woo friend, but somebody that's not over the deep end about anything. Like, I know you know. I mean, because that's the whole point, right? I want to be friends with or talking to people that are aware of the everythingness of it all, which means no black and no white, only gray. And every other color in between and beyond.